Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is the online classes of IYS school system. I'm your computer teacher and this lecture is for class 7 computer. Before starting the chapter, I will let you know about the instructions. So the instructions are: don't raise hand during teaching, ask questions at the end of the teaching, use hand-free if you are using mobile phone and headphones for computer use. Feed your ID and password properly with your name in class. Take care of time for attending the class. Home tasks should be done in your fair copy of the subject. If there is any disconnectivity during the teaching, try to join again within 5 to 10 minutes. Now, moving on to the name of the chapter. The chapter is from your textbook, chapter number 7, More Tools in Flash. Now, moving on to the objectives of this chapter. Objectives means that what you learn from this chapter. So, by the end of the lesson, you will be able to use a pen tool, eyedropper tool, import a picture, transforming object, gradients or gradient tools, you can say that, or text tools. Now, in class 6, you have learned about some Flash CS3 tools like the line tool, the oval tool, and the rectangle tool. In this chapter, we will discuss some advanced features of Flash. But before starting the advanced tool understanding and the steps to use the advanced tool, first I give you the introduction of the Flash Adobe player. The introduction is the Adobe Flash. It is a multimedia software used for production of animation, rich web applications, desktop applications, mobile apps, mobile games, and embedded web browser video players. Flash displays text vector graphics and raster graphics to provide animations, video games, and applications. It allows streaming of video and audio as well. Now, the first advanced tool which we have in our toolbox is the pen tool. This is the picture of a pen tool. Whenever we are just selecting a pen tool from our toolbox, so in place of this mouse pointer, the arrow sign, we have this pen nib like pointer. And after that, I will tell you the use of pan tool. Pan tool is used for drawing precise path like straight lines and smooth curves. Whenever you are using a pan tool, you have to be able to draw straight and smooth lines or curves on your stage. Stage means stage means on which point you are working. Okay. So you can also adjust the angles and length of straight line segments and the slope of curves. A straight line can be created by simply clicking on the stage, while curved lines can be created by clicking and dragging. Now, moving on to the steps. How can we use the pen tool in Flash or Adobe Flash Player? Steps to use pen tool. Click the pen tool. Create straight segments. The first step is select the pen tool. Means that whenever you are just using any of the tools in Flash, you have to select it first from the toolbox. Then after that, position the pen tool where you want the straight segments to begin and click to define the first anchor point. Do not drag that point. Means that whenever you are just selecting any of the pen tool from your toolbox, so you have to put a drop over there like the in this picture. If you are observing that is a direct point, this one and this one, first you have to draw the point over there, and then after this point you have to draw the next point to it on any of the distance. Then it will make the line segment automatically on your stage. Now, one thing that you have to keep it in your mind, that to close a path, position the pointer over the first point. A small circle will appear next to the pen. Click to close the path. Unlike Flash 8 and Flash CS3 does not automatically fill the closed path with color. Fill color have to be applied separately. Means that whenever you are just drawing any of the image by your pen tool, so you have to fill the color with yourself. There is no color automatically in the image. Now, moving on to the next tool. The next tool is the eyedropper tool. If you observe the picture of eyedropper tool, it look like a same eyedropper that we are using at our homes. Now, what is the use of our eyedropper tool? It is used to pick up colors and styles for existing lines, brush strokes, and fills. You then apply these colors and styles to other objects. The eyedropper tool is linked to the paint bucket or ink bottle tool. You pick a color from one object with the eyedropper tool and fill the same color in other object with the paint bucket or ink bottle. Now, moving on to the steps, how can we use the eyedropper tool? Steps to use the eyedropper tool. Select the eyedropper tool. You will notice that the pointer changes to an eyedropper. I told you before that whenever we are just picking any of the tool, so many times our pointer is look like the same tool that we selected. Means that in this time, if we selected eyedropper tool, so the my mouse pointer will change into an eyedropper. Now, click the line or fill from where you wish to copy the formatting. Means that first you have to click the particular line that you have to format. Then you will notice that the pointer changes to an ink bottle if you select a line color. If you are selecting a line color, then it will be converted into a ink bottle or to a paint bucket. Paint bucket like the same which we are using in drawing paint. If you select a fill color, click the line or fill to you wish to apply the copied format. Now, what you do, click the particular line or fill to which you wish to apply to copy the format. Means that you have to color the particular image that you have on your stage. Now, next thing that is very familiar with you, which is the import a picture. How to import a picture in Flash. I think so most of the time whenever you are using Word or you are using MS Excel or you are using PowerPoint, so you import most of the pictures from your computer drives or from your computer system or maybe from the drive which is related to USB or somewhere. So you can just copy that particular picture and then you just paste it in your stage. So import a picture. To import a clip art or any other image from your computer, the steps are select the file. Means that first you have to select the file, then import it. After that you have to import to stage. The import dialog box appears. Select the drive and folder, select the picture you want to insert and click open. First you have to select the file, means that in which drive the file is present in it, and then you have to import that picture. So the import stage will be displayed. Then you have to select that and open it into the stage. Now moving on to the next one, transforming object. Transforming object means whenever you transform an object, means that you can change it in any of the way. Maybe you can change its size, maybe you can change its shape, or you can just transform or move it maybe one place to another place, or maybe you can rotate it. So the free transform tool is like this: draw a figure on a stage or import a picture. Select the object and click the free transform tool. First you have to draw a picture on the stage if you want, or you have another way that you import a picture from any of the drive of your computer. Then what you do, select the object and click the free transform tool. First you have to select the object and then from the toolbox you select free transform tool. As you move the pointer over different parts of the selection, it changes to indicate which transformation function is available. The free transform tool is used to rotate or scale an object. Means that whenever you just want to scale any object, scaling an object, or maybe you can rotate an object. Rotate means in the circular position. To scale an object means to increase or decrease the size of it. Means that if I'm talking about the rotation of the object, it means in the circular position you can just rotate it. And move the object means to put a object from one place to another place. And scaling means to increase or decrease the size of the image that you have. So these are the steps in which how can we transform any of the object by ourselves on our image, or any of the document or presentation in which you want to resize, reform, or transform your object. So now let's moving on to the first one, which is moving an object. How can we move an object from one place to another place? If you observe this picture, you understand how we will move the object from one place to another on the same stage, not on the other stage, or on the from the other drive, on the same stage. To move the selected object, position pointer over the selected object so the pointer changes to a cross. I told you before that I selected eyedropper tool, so the pointer will become eyedropper. Or when I selected a pointer in a when I selected a tool, pen tool, then it will the pointer will be changed into a pen nib. So whenever I'm using a moving object tool, so my pointer will be changed into a cross. So first I select this object, means that this is the image of a bear. I just select it first and the pointer automatically turns into a cross. After that, drag the object to a new position, means that the object is in this position and then I dragged it to move it on this position. Now, moving on to the next one, rotating an object. Rotating an object means how can we rotate an object? To rotate the selected object position, the pointer over one of the four corner handles. When the pointer changes to a curve arrow, click and drag to rotate the object. If you observe this figure, then you understand more clearly that if we have this oval shape, what I do, I just click on this oval shape, then I am having four corner handles. Four corner handles means handles are these. These are the four corner handles. These are the small squares they call the corner handles. And this is the rotator. This curved arrow, the two curved arrows, if you are observing, this curved arrow and this curved arrow. So if you put a pointer on a rotator and just click that particular pointer, so it will rotate your picture in a circular position. And after that you will rotate the picture in any of the position that you want on the same stage that you are working now. Now we have another tool, that is scaling an object. After discussing scaling an object, I will show you another picture of rotating an object. Means that the first picture is also giving you the clear concept about how to rotate a picture, but I will show you the next picture as well. So rotate pointer, this is the rotate pointer. This is our picture, the arrow is our picture, and when we click on this picture, so we will have the corner handles or rotate handles, we can say that. Corner handles are in your book, and we can say both rotate handle or corner handles. And this is the rotate pointer, this is the main point. So whenever we click on this point, our figure will be rotated in the different positions or in a circular position. So if we rotate it, you will see that the pointer of the this arrow will be changed. Now next we have uh, scaling an object. To scale the selected object in two dimensions, drag a corner handle diagonally, or To scale an object in a single direction, drag one of the handle in the desired direction. Means that in two ways we are scaling an object. Scaling means, I told you before that scaling an object means how to resize your image. Maybe you decrease its size or maybe you increase its size. So to scale the selected object in two dimensions, drag a corner handle diagonally. To select the object in a single direction means that you select the object in a single direction, you want a single direction, so drag only one corner handle to the desired position. Now, moving on to the gradient transform tool. This is a picture of a gradient transform tool. After you have applied a gradient to any object, you can transform the gradient by adjusting its size, direction, or center. To modify the gradient fill of an object, first select the gradient transform tool, then click on the object that is filled with the gradient. So, after applying the transform the gradient by adjusting size, direction, and center. To modify the gradient fill of an object, select the gradient transform tool. So the gradient is the related to a term with colors. How can you change or give the different color or different type of color scheme to the image? So for this we are using gradient tools. We have two types of gradient, linear gradient and radial gradient. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the linear gradient. The linear gradient function set a linear gradient as the background image. If you observe that you having different type of colored lines in this image, it means that it shows the linear gradient, the lines of the gradient or lines of colors. To create a linear gradient, you must define at least two color stops. Means that whenever you are using a linear gradient, so you have to select the two colors, at least two colors. Color stops are the colors you want to render a smooth transition among. You can also set a straight point and a direction or an angle along with the gradient effect. The line of the right has rotate handle and with adjust handle. Two of the handles we have, the right handle and we have the rotation handle. So by the right handle and the rotation handle, we will handle the adjustment of the colors. We can change the gradient for any of the following ways. Means that in two ways we are changing the color or gradient of any of the image. The reposition to reposition the center point of gradient fill, click and drag the center point. You will be able to drag the point only after the cursor change to a four arrow cursor pointing left and right, up and down. Bring the cursor to a circular handle at the center point for this happen. Whenever you want a linear gradient, so you must have to put your pointer in the center of the picture, center of that image or picture, you can say that. And after that you have four corner handles will be displayed on your image. Then you can use the gradient to make it in a linear gradient form. Now, moving on to the next one, the radial gradient. How we will use the radial gradient or what is the radial gradient? So, if we talk about the radial gradient, when you select the radial gradient transformation or transform tool and click on the object filled with the radial gradient, it looks like a figure shown in this picture. So the radial gradient function set a radial gradient as the background image. Whenever you have any of the image, then it will make the radial gradient in the background of that image. Defined by its center, to create a radial gradient, you must define at least two color stops. Means that you have to color the two. You have to just pick up the two colors, and after that you can use the radial gradient. As in case of linear gradient, you can drag the center point to adjust the center of the gradient. You can also drag the adjustment handles to change the size and radius of the gradient. Now, moving on to the next one, changing color or transparency of an intense. Changing color means so simple as that you know that how can we change the color or changing the transparency for an intense. In class 6, you learned how to convert a drawing into a symbol and store in the folder called library. You know that an intense is an occurrence of a symbol. Each time you insert a symbol in a movie to create an intense of that symbol. Means that whenever you are using the intense picture or intense text in your movie or in your player folders or different type of presentation, so it means that it make it more presentable for the viewer. So that's why we are using the changing color or transparency of an intense. You can modify the color properties of a particular intense or change its brightness or transparency. You can also change the brightness of that image or make it more intense for the viewer. Okay, now how can we use this type of tool in Adobe? Use the select arrow tool to select an intense of the sample. To change the color, click the drop down menu arrow for color in the property inspector. Window choose tint and change the percentage. A higher percentage give a lighter color and a lower percentage give the darker color. Whenever you are using this type of changing color or changing transparency tool, so you must have to take a higher percentage to give the lighter color to your image, and whenever you are just taking the lower percentage, then you have the darker color in your Adobe Flash presentation. To change the transparency in the property inspector window, click the drop down arrow for color, choose alpha and change the percentage as well. Means that you can choose the color by yourself and you can also change the percentage of it. So you can take the lighter or darker image to your picture. Okay, to change the transparency in the property inspector, you can also select the means that whenever you are just selecting the higher percentage, maybe it's about approx 80% or 70%, so your image will be in lighter color. And when you are taking your percentage as 44 or maybe 30, so your image will be darker in color. Now moving on to the next one that we have, grouping outline and fills. How can we group outline or fill the colors in our image? So grouping outline and colors. If you observe this picture, we have two types of circles over there, and the outline of the circle, if you observe that the outline of the circle is also changed. The square, the fill color is different and the outline of the square is also changed. So grouping outline and fill means whenever you are just creating any of the image on your stage, so it means that you can also change the color of the outline and the fill color, the when in which way that you have to fill the image of your. You can take two colors, three colors for image to make the change in color outline and fill colors. When you draw an object, say a rectangular or a circle flash, create two objects. One is the outline and other is the fill. To move the object to a new position, you need to select both fill and outline. If you do not select both, only select part will move. Now, to move the object in a new position, you need to select both the fill and outline. If you do not select the both, only select the part will move only. To solve this problem, it is good to group the outline with the fill and make the drawing in a single object. Now, Moving on to the steps, how can we group our outline and fills? So these are the steps to group and fill the outline. Using the arrow tool, select both the outline and the fills. Then you have to select the modify group. In this way, you can change the outline and group and the color of your image. Only not only the outline, the fill color is also changed. If you want to follow these steps, so you can follow these ones, and if you want to use a shortcut, then we have a shortcut of these steps as well. Group selected object, for selected a group of object or group selected object, so we can press Ctrl plus D. And if we break apart grouped object, when we want to break a object in a different part, so what we just press Ctrl plus B. This is the shorthand keys to do this type of steps. To break apart ground object, select the object and then selected modify break apart, so it will be change the position of your particular image. Then we have working with text. We have a lot of text working in our Flash, so we will also work with text in Flash Player because it's very necessary whenever we are making any of the presentation. So we require the text, not only the images. So for text we are also using or taking the advantage that our viewers are more intense with that particular movie that you are making or making a particular presentation, so it will gives you the more intense look, so you can use the text graphics as well. So Flash allows you to add text to your movies. You can set various attributes for text style, font, size, color, and engagements. How can we use the text tool? This is a picture of a text tool. Whenever you are selecting a text box, that is a text box which is present in your Flash selection selection toolbox, so you can select the text box from your that particular image or text. So what you do, first you have to select the text, then click on the stage and start typing. Notice that this creates an expanding one line text block. As you type, the block get wider. If you want text in the next line, just press enter. You can also set the width of the text block. To do this, just resize the text box manually. You will notice that the width is now fixed. Word wrap to the next line when they reach the edge of the text block. To format the text, select the text block and use the property inspector to set the font size, color, and other attribute for the text. If you observe this picture, you observe that we have this text box in A, picture number A, or image number A, that you observe that this is the text box. If we have only a macro, if we are only having four alphabets, or text boxes look like this. If we having more than five letters, so the text box become wider, right? Automatically it become wider. You don't have to set the text box corners, or set text box image in a different way or manually. You can just only change it automatically. So to change the orientation of the text, select the text block and use the property inspector to change the text orientation horizontal to vertical. You can also turn your text box in a horizontal way or in a vertical way as well. Now moving on to the next one, which is converting text into basic shapes. Means that you having a different type of letters in your presentation, but if you want that each of the word shows different type of structure, so you can just change that one. How can we change it? Flash has a unique feature to convert text into basic shapes. You can then reshape a character using the selection tool. You can also fill characters with a gradient. However, after converting text to a shape, you can no longer edit it as text. Now, what is the first step? First step is select the text. Then what you do when you select the text, select modify break apart. This break the single text into multiple text blocks. If you observe this picture, I just type the text first in the text box, then after that select the text. I just selected this text and then break apart with Control B, means that this is the shorthand key to break apart of the all the alphabets in a different blocks. So I just press Control plus B. Each character has its own separate text block, the text in the same position. Select modify break apart once, then you also again press Control plus B. Once more, the character can now be converted into shapes. They cannot be considered text anymore. You can no longer change the font size, etc. Now, click outside the converter. Converted text to deselected the shape. Now you can manipulate these shapes like any other shape. Move the pointer to drag the edge on the character and drag to reshape it. You can use the paint bucket tool to fill this reshape character with other color or gradient. If you observe this picture, you understand that if when we break all the letters in a different block and we only change this edge in a different way, so it will more prominent and more visible to a viewer. Now, moving on to animating text with timeline effect. Animating text with timeline effect. Animations, the different form of text. After breaking the text, drag the select all the broken parts of the text using the selection tool and then go to modify. Timeline distribute to layers or press Ctrl plus Shift plus B. This will distribute every single part of a single layer. This will help in our animation later. Now select each layer and press Ctrl plus B once. This will convert the text to shapes. Once finished, drag and select all the shapes to make sure all broken into shapes. So, in this way, you can animate your text with timeline effects. Now, we have another very good feature of Flash is animating text with shape tweaking. How can we reshape that object? So another simple method to animation text to use shape tuning. The steps to apply the shape tuning are: on the stage, draw a circle with the oval tool in frame 30. Now you have a keyframe in frame 1 with a square and a keyframe in frame 30 with a circle. In the line, select one of the frame in between the two keyframe in the layer containing the two shapes. Choose Insert Shape Twin. Animate interpolates the shape in all frames between the two keyframes. To preview the twin, scrub the playhead across the frame in the timeline or press the Enter key. In frame 1, draw a square with the rectangle tool. To, to twin motion is addition to shape. Move the shape in frame 30 to different location from frame 1. Now, preview the animation by pressing the Enter key. To twin the color of the shape, make the shape in frame 1 a different color from the shape in frame 30. Add easing the twin, select one of the frame and enter a value in the ease field of the property inspector. To ease the beginning of twin, enter a negative value. To ease the end of the twin, enter a positive value. Just keep it in your mind whenever you are beginning the twin. Beginning means the starting of the twin, then you have to just put the negative value, and then you ending up the twin, then you have to put the positive value into it. Select frame 30 of the same layer and add a blank keyframe by choosing insert timeline blank frame again, or press the F7 key. This is the shorthand key to twinning the image. Now that's all for today. But before ending this chapter, you have to do a home task. So the home task is, first is the short question answer. What is the use of pen tool? You have to, one thing that I remind you again, that you have to do your homework in your fair copies. First section is a short question answer. What is the use of a pan tool? How we will import a picture from computer on the stage? Which tool is used to rotate an object? How can you move an object from one place to another? How can you scale an object in a single direction? Name the folder in which symbols are stored. List the steps to group the outline and fill of an object. Now, the next is the descriptive question answer. Can you convert text into basic shape? If yes, list the steps to do so. In Flash provides the user with the ability to work with color in a number of different color options in Flash and their importance. Then you have the activity-based question in Flash software, why it is important to be able to change text into basic shapes. This is your activity-based question. And now again I will show you the all the slides again one more time to recall your memory, and after that I'll finish this chapter. First I'm giving you the introduction of the Adobe Flash Player. Then we have the first tool, which is the pen tool, steps to use the pen tool. Then the eyedropper tool, steps to use the eyedropper tool, import a picture, steps to import a picture, transforming objects, steps how to transform any of the object, resize, or we can say that the moving an object from one place to another, rotating an object. This is a picture of rotating an object. Scaling an object to resize, decrease its size or increase its size, gradients, the color formation, linear gradient we have, and the radial gradients we have. This is the picture of a radial gradient. Then we have changing the color or transparency of an intense. How can we change the color or the transparency? If we take a higher percentage, then it will be, yeah, it will gives the lighter color, and if we take a lower percentage, then it will gives the darker image. To on the stage, grouping outline and fills. Steps to group and fill outlines, working with text tools, steps to use the text tools, converting text into basic shapes. How can you break apart and each block in a different, each letter in a different block, sorry, or animation text with timeline effects, and then we have the animating text with shape 20. Just quickly take a screenshot of home task, and that's all for today. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.